All right, so this next part, I'm gonna go ahead, I've got these nylon pliers and I've got my already cut pre-measured sterling silver wire. What I'm gonna do is just kind of bend it into kind of a U shape. So, because I'm making it into basically a little oval. So now I've got it there. Could probably bend it down a little bit more, right? Straight across, because I did file it straight across. So we want to make sure that when we fit it together, it's straight across. So again, I'm moving it up and down. Here, let's see if you can hear that click. Hear that? That's what we want. So make sure if I have to at all, if it's a little bit to the side there, I can move it side to side just a little bit. Checking to make sure that I've got a good seam going. Perfect. All right. So at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that I get the whole thing coated in just a thin layer of that flux, right like that. And then I can go ahead here, I could set it down, or what I'm gonna do is put it in these locking tweezers on this third hand so you can see a little easier as well. It's my preferred method is to kind of just set it in locking tweezers. So get a good look here, let it focus a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now that I've got it there, I'm gonna take, again, just a little bit of flux onto the end of one of my solder picks so we can see, right, the solder on the end all there. I definitely don't need that much, but I'm gonna go ahead, wipe it right onto that seam. I might take a few of them off. So it looks like I've got 3. Which isn't a bad amount, and I'm gonna make sure that it is right on top of that seam right there. Now what I'm gonna do is evenly heat, so I'm gonna heat from farther away so you won't really be able to see the torch head at all, where the flame is barely touching that silver to dry out the flux. Another option is you can always let the flux sit. It'll dry out and do it that way, but it can occasionally be problematic. So all I'm gonna do here is go ahead, I have a nice even flame, and I'm gonna start where that flame is barely touching my piece to dry out that flux so it gets nice and crusty and kind of glue-like. And then I'm gonna move in a lot closer, slowly, keeping an eye on that silver, making sure it itself isn't gonna melt. So you get closer and closer. You see that solder's gonna wanna go. Might move it back and forth, might come off and on a little bit. And there we go. So we can see that flux and the different oxidation happening. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quench it. Now I can grab it and look back at it. If we look from the bottom there, can't really tell that seam much at all, and perfect. So all I'm gonna do is go ahead and pickle it. Silver can take anywhere from 30 seconds to a couple minutes. The longer you let it sit in the pickle, the more it becomes that bone white color. So you're gonna wanna be careful about, not leaving it in there for hours and hours, as it's just stripping away any copper that's in that silver, making it that white color. So after I go ahead and clean it, then I'm gonna make sure to round it out on my ring mandrel, and then I can polish it up and I'll have a nice ring.